Welcome to the In Cosmetics Asia Meet the Speaker series, where we get to meet the experts speaking in the marketing trends theatre this November. I'm really pleased today to welcome today's guest, Michelle Bauer, Associate Director of Creative Strategy at Dalziel Pow. Thank you for joining us, Michelle.
Thanks for having me, Lottie.
So let's kick off some questions. To start, could you give us a bit of a background to your company?
Sure. D&P, Dalziel Pow, is an independent creative agency based in London, but we help our clients all around the world. So for at least 35 years, creating the most engaging and successful brands in the world.
Great. And what is it exactly that your role entails?
So I'm part of the strategy and transformation team. So I personally help the global brands define their next chapter with an experienced vision and then specific ideas on how to bring it to life for the customer.
Fantastic. So what is it that you're interested in the beauty and wellness category?
So D&P has worked in beauty and wellness around the world. So we've worked with a more Pacific group in the last few years. But part of what I love about the job is that we work in lots of different sectors. And obviously beauty is really fast moving and wellness is huge growth. And every sector is trying to learn from what customers need in other sectors. So this kind of cross-pollination between different customer-facing experiences is where the magic is for us. So we work in property, we work in banking, we work in lifestyle, we work in fashion, but it's ultimately the same customer. And really understanding where there's innovation in one area and it raises the bar, so then we can start to innovate in a new sector like beauty.
What sort of impact do you think the coronavirus pandemic that we're obviously living through right now has had on the beauty and wellness industry, or actually just that kind of your area of specialism in general?
Yeah, I guess when I think about beauty, it's incredibly hands-on. It's fun, it's immersive, it is sensory, and we have to be rightly hands-off right now. So yeah. That's obviously the biggest challenge, and all of the customers have moved online, which means it's a bit of a level playing field for everyone. And obviously newer brands kind of more set up and maybe have less legacy issues there. So although it's a level playing field, it's been quite interesting seeing how different brands are responding in the last few months. Typically, we're always tracking insights and how brands are responding and ultimately how they're trying to help their customers. So it's been really interesting to see the kind of fast pivots that have been happening in different sectors, but specifically in beauty. We know the lipstick effect is anytime there's a recession around the world, the kind of sales of those, pick-me-up happy items like a lipstick tend to go up and buck the trend of people spending less. Obviously, it's quite different this time if we're all masked up. And I don't know about you, but I'm seeing all the makeup inside of my mask. So it's actually now the mascara index, and it's all about the kind of the eyes and other ways to kind of express your personality, even in masks, and just how we can still feel good during times of stress. So in terms of how it's affecting what we do in creative strategy and customer experience, we've just always got to be tuned in to how people are responding and what they need. Specifically on fragrance, I have a friend who she puts on fragrance before a Zoom call to kind of get into a new mindset. So I think we've got to remember that the role of these products is not just how they make us look, it really is kind of how we can change our mindset and how we can help people feel better.
That makes a lot of sense. What would be your one prediction for the beauty and wellness industry in 2021?
Well, no one could have seen 2020 coming. I think we were heading towards more people living in urban cities, and therefore pollution seemed to be a kind of a key challenge to tackle in terms of what that meant for the barrier and protection and nourishment that we get from beauty and wellness. And I think that will still be needed, but I think it's going to be more about de-stressing. There's a lot of change, there's a lot of fear, and I think the role of these products to help people kind of disconnect or slow down and feel good. I think COVID's obviously thrown everything out of balance and reprioritised what we want to invest in, our time as well as our money. So I think we'll be seeing more kind of holistic solutions and even kind of looking back to ancient kind of Ayurvedic treatments, I know is on the rise, but combined with that kind of scientific efficacy. So I think de-stressing is the big one, but obviously there'll be lots of strands of that.
Yeah. Brilliant. And you'll be talking about fragrance specifically at Marketing Trends Theatre this November. Could you give us an overview of what your session is going to entail?
Yes. So it's about beyond the perfume bottle. So obviously fragrance is a huge industry, and there's lots of innovation specifically within perfume. But really I want to open people's mind to the role of sensory in the customer experience. So irrespective of what you are selling, whether that's products or brands or ingredients, that sensory is a bit of an untapped superpower that I think more brands could harness to kind of do good in customers' lives. So it'll be about challenging people's preconceptions of maybe fragrance and scent, and exploring maybe some specific areas that they can add value to the customer experience.
So in regards to your session, do you have any interesting statistics or exclusive tips for our listeners?
Well, specifically for fragrance, when we were working with Molton Brown to launch their global collection, a stat that kind of stuck with me was that on average there's about 2,000 fragrances that are launched every year. So wow. Obviously from a customer perspective, that's a lot of noise, and I don't think you're going to get to try all of those. So I think just making sure that people know how they stand out in a unique way for them, and really focusing on what's in it for the customer. I think something that's exciting me personally, the kind of crossover with beauty into wellness, is that sensory is a superpower. It's being used increasingly in medicine and in science. So there's a lot of research at the moment about the kind of the links with memory and scent as a trigger. So there's research around Alzheimer's and dementia. So I think that's quite interesting, kind of looking beyond and kind of, you know, bigger, higher purpose, and how brands can be part of that as well. And also the growth in niche and independence. So I think it's really exciting, back to that kind of levelling of the playing field, that there's room for everybody, but you've got to kind of be really authentic to your brand and express it in unique ways.
Fantastic. And what is your highlight of the show, or what are you most looking forward to this year?
Well, it's actually my first time visiting. So, for me, I'm always switched on. I'm always like soaking stuff up. So it's really important to meet the people behind brands and understand, you know, why they're doing what they're doing, how that's coming across, how it's being communicated. And I think there are so many amazing stories that need telling within beauty, and it's kind of can sometimes get lost in marketing. So for me, it's really important to meet the people behind these brands and businesses, and kind of try and spot some R&D and kind of innovation opportunities that will maybe help influence other sectors as well.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to welcoming you later this year. Thanks very much for joining us, Michelle.
Thank you.